which always makes it exciting. And we are live here for the Friday, October 16th edition of Litvak Leadership Live. I'm Sean Litvak, and today my very special guest is Brandon Lucas. I've known Brandon for a number of years, serial entrepreneur, super bright guy, huge leader. Brandon, how you doing this Friday afternoon?
I'm doing great. It's great to see you pulled up in a car like that.
Exactly. I cannot hide the glass around me. I'm not in my home studio today, but you know what? That just means the economy is ticking if I get to do walkthroughs to put together proposals for janitorial services, right?
It's a good sign, or you just got thrown out of your house.
Or I just got thrown out of my house, and everyone can see Brandon is a comedian. And isn't it funny? Right when I decide to do this, my web route jumps up to do a scan. So hopefully that'll stop. Okay, so Sari is here. Sari was probably the most engaging guest and had more people show up than anybody. Sari throws down the challenge. Next week, Sari's sister Judy's going to be on, so we'll see if Judy beats out Sari on that. But Brandon, my Brandon, what is your fondest memory of me? Because I know my fondest memory of you. What is your fondest memory of me?
Oh, IFMA meetings, man. When you walked in, the smile. I mean, IFMA meetings. Here comes Sean. Here comes energy. So yeah.
And I remember when the IFMA, International Facility Management Association, Greater Louisville chapter, there's your plug, first started having sponsorships.
Yeah.
We were allowed to do a 3-minute, talk about our companies. And Brandon and I each thought, well, 3 minutes isn't enough. And boy, it's kind of boring. So, Brandon, what did we do to make it exciting?
Oh my gosh. Tell me, Sean.
You don't remember this?
Go ahead. Go through the whole details of it. I remember, but not enough to be on the spot to go through it. Go ahead.
So we rented a karaoke machine.
Yes, we did.
Soul Man, rewrote the lyrics to talk about coffee and cleaning because that was what we sold. And we got up and sang in front of everybody for 6 minutes.
Oh,
and
yeah.
It was legendary.
Yeah.
For about 5 years.
Yes. It's all coming back. It's all coming back. Yes. I think that was you talking me into that, Sean.
Oh, I definitely talked to you into
that. Yeah.
It was my idea, and you were like, yeah, I can do that. And I was like, oh, he doesn't know what he's in for. Okay, so I looked at your LinkedIn, and I had no idea that you started your career working for Cisco. And to me, people who started out at Cisco are kind of like people who started out at Enterprise. Nobody stays there forever, but boy, they get a great foundation. What was that like?
That's nail on head. You just hit it. So absolutely great foundation. I literally today had a conversation with someone about the great foundation of training and support and structure for someone straight out of college that was looking for that, right? That needed that. Those training wheels. So they got them there. There's no doubt about it. The training was phenomenal. Structure. I can't speak highly enough of that organization. And well, there's other places, right? You hear about GEs of the world that have that in place as well, that really invest. The entrepreneur bug hit me, and want to go climb some bigger mountains hit me. But yeah, you're right. I did have some friends that stayed a good 20 plus years. So some do stick around for sure. But yeah, several go on, and it's a stamp on their resume. And right, it helps you get to the next place. So kind of like the Enterprise does.
Well, and I think not only does Enterprise and Cisco and some other companies give you that foundation, but when you're out looking for a new role and people see that on your resume, they look at it and they're like, oh, this guy is foundational in, how he started out. So do you think you were ahead of your time at Royal Cup Coffee? Because when you were there, coffee was coffee. It wasn't the experience that it
Mhm.
is today.
That's interesting you say that. So I got lucky, Sean. I got so lucky. So I'll go back into the story that I'm sort of fond of is while at Cisco, calling on a customer that would not use Cisco, who finally started opening the door back up because
Hmm.
I just kept trying, kept trying. Well, what you do when you sell food to a restaurant is, and especially one that's not using you very much, not buying much food from you, you eat lunch there. So I had a lunch planned at this restaurant that was very hesitant to start using Cisco again due to a poor experience. Walked in, saw the buyer. Buyer was having coffee with my former boss, the owner and part owner of Consumers Choice Coffee, now Royal Cup.
Right.
And so the buyer at that restaurant introduced me to what was to be my new boss. I felt in my mind, I kind of fell backwards into a trend and a thing that was happening that opened my eyes up to differentiation and disrupting. So
Okay.
how important, so yes, when you mention being ahead of my time and being the future of coffee, so Royal Cup Coffee, Consumers Choice at that time, they had already figured out that folks appreciated finer things. Maybe they had seen bread, maybe they'd seen Whole Foods, I don't know, but they recognized that we should go to these higher brand levels and sell at a higher price point because
Oh yeah.
people appreciate it, and gosh, it's such a small incremental increase for this upgrade. Just as we've seen in the microbrew industry or the wine industry, and I mentioned bread a moment ago. So I kind of fell backwards because of a relationship with the buyer and was at the right place at the right time. And I was pitched that story when I interviewed. This is who we are. We're tapping into this thing that's happening. And
Yeah.
Sean, I was 25 maybe. And so, so the 25-year-old hearing, yeah, there's this trend happening and it's real. And okay, how much does this pay? What's this? Oh,
What
I
are
get a
you gonna
car.
pay me?
I get a car with this job. So, yeah, so that's what I mean by falling backwards to something. And what it did do, though, is again open my eyes up to the importance of disrupting, of differentiation. And differentiation, to me, is paramount. I mean, if you're not different, you're a me too, and it's a race to the bottom.
Well, and it's interesting you say disruption and differentiation. Gosh, I hope I'm saying that right.
You got
Um,
it.
okay, good. Because looking at where you've been, over your career, I think it's all about disruption and differentiation. Because then you left, this is like Brandon's resume talk, but it's so cool. I love your career. Then you left coffee, and you became an owner, or a partner,
Mhm.
of a group, I believe it was, of Huntington Learning Centers, which, at the time were like super cutting edge and may even still be today. So what convinced you to go from coffee to kids?
So I saw a trend. I think I'm on the other side of business school at that point. So with my master's in business administration, uh, eager to use it even more, and and did have the entrepreneurial bug at that point. So much that taking jogs with a good friend whose mom was a tutor and
Hmm.
having insight to that world and spending lots of time digging into that world, something was happening. And so, and it truly was connected to higher education and the importance of higher education in the United States and parents' focus on preparing their children for opportunity and that education equals opportunity and has
Sure.
typically. And so that was really happening. But once I started looking into it and I discovered Huntington, which is a franchise,
Right.
uh, they had a model. Now Huntington, it probably still does at this time. They had I don't know, 100 company stores and let's say 150 stores of their own or franchise stores. So they had been doing it for a while and figured out the kinks.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and by that point,
A repeatable process.
Right, right. And it's amazing. The Huntington process and what they do, it's really hard to just talk about here and now because when you experience it, it's unfathomable about remediation or even pushing a child ahead. So I saw it when I went on a discovery day. What you do with franchise companies, you go up and you visit their headquarters and do a discovery day, and I saw it there, and it worked. And so that opportunity, it looks weird in my past because food, coffee, tutoring. But it was.
I don't think that's the weird one. We're going to talk about the weird one yet, but I don't think this is the weird one.
The next one. Yeah. So nevertheless, Huntington's amazing. It still works. I can tell you, it's just an amazing program. Something I'm really proud to have been a part of. So it was fun. Again, a disruptor because a differentiator, your typical tutoring, nothing against the typical tutor, but talk about organized and effective and really work success rate and just different because of that organization and proven track record. So
see, and this is what I truly love about you, Brandon, and how even though you and I just recently, probably in the past year, have renewed our friendship, I have watched your career from afar, looking at LinkedIn and truly been inspired by the things that you are willing to put your hand to and try, which brings me to Vocar's Filter Fry, which is transforming vegetable oil collection. So what is that?
What was that? Right. So Filter Fry is a service for restaurants. It cleaning service for the fryers. Nobody likes it. Typically that job is one of the worst jobs in the kitchen. But really it was about renewing the oils with a special machine that would extend the life of the oil. That was it. So save the restaurant money, enough money that it paid for that company to take care of the fryers. And so you contract that service out and pay for that service through saving oil. And then I realized pretty quickly that the oil that did need to be thrown away could be sold to a biodiesel company or to a feed company, either one, to be reused again. And that industry is already around. So Filter Fry, again, franchise. So I'm not much on coming up with new, original, disrupting, and differentiating ideas. More about finding them. Maybe the first time falling backwards into one. But when you think about what Vocars did and how it disrupted, it was really different in that industry's been around for so long, just like the waste removal industry. So you're talking about oil removal. So the oil's done, you pour it into a container, somebody comes and picks it up in the middle of the night, and it's yucky and gross. So at that company, we actually sprayed off the containers with a power washer. Yeah, so we gave people receipts. We paid them for their oil because it had value, and so we actually measured it and gave them. There's a little shadiness in that world, in that business, about how people paid for their oil.
Really?
Yeah. So we shine some light on it. So that oil has a lot of value at different times. It's a commodity, and so a restaurant just doesn't have time to be worrying about how much that oil is worth or not worth, and so most companies weren't really giving a true calculation of how much they were hauling off, and so there was just some guessing of how much oil was in that container or how much they hauled off, and here's a check for a couple bucks. So we shine a little light on that.
Got it. And now Kenny Mayberry has a question specific to this. Will this system work on diesel tractor without a conversion kit?
So it's interesting. So how I found out about oil being used for fuel, my father and I researched it. And so you have the biodiesel process, right? So you take the oil and you actually, it's a chemical reaction to make it into biodiesel, a chemical process. And then you have, yes, conversion kits. If it's cold, you got to have a conversion kit.
Okay.
So if it's above a certain temperature and you live in Jamaica, you probably don't have to worry about it. Or you
Okay.
live in southern Mexico. But when that oil gets down to a certain temperature, the viscosity goes down, it'll lock up your diesel tractor. And it's going to have to be an old diesel as well, because newer diesels, even tractors, have too much. They're too fine tuned. They're just too much fine tuning to those systems
Well,
nowadays.
and isn't there like old diesel fuel and new diesel fuel? Or am I
Yeah,
mistaken on that?
and that's above my degree, but
Okay.
but I do know that diesels have been programmed to be much more efficient through
Okay.
technology. So yeah, the tolerance levels are really low.
So before you tell us about, your current role at RCF, how has, or our RCF group, I should
Yeah,
say, how has all that you did in the past, and we haven't even talked about Oxford Gardens,
yeah.
where you were a true executive, as the chief operating officer. How has all that prepared you for your current role at RCF Group?
Well, so everywhere I've had to go, Sean, it's a new learning experience, right? It's new. It's altogether new. Uh, but the thing that's come along the whole ride, is the customer experience, and people are people, so that hasn't changed. So
Right.
whether it's buying from people that we trust, an emotional factor, or the buying being easy and intuitive, all that's the same. Is what's changed is being an expert, or getting enough expert knowledge, or getting enough experts around you. I mean,
Mm,
that that's what's key. So as time's gone on too, is do I need to be a total expert in everything? No, you really don't. There's a reason, especially some larger companies, you hear about the sales engineers.
right.
Yeah, so many times you have the account manager, or you have the person that's a relationship manager, and then you have an engineer that's actually the person that's going to be the expert. I'm seeing more and more of that now.
Yes, you
Uh,
do.
yeah, more than ever, where that typical front person, and I hate to even call that front person a salesperson anymore, because that seems to have changed and keeps changing.
Yeah.
Um, like salesperson is a bad word, because I don't know if it's the onset of e-commerce, or the rise of the internet, whatever it's been, because information is so available. But I've never thought people like to be sold to,
No.
and it's never been about selling. And I don't need to be an expert, but I need to know enough to stop talking and get them to the expert, right?
Yes, exactly.
Within my organization, and be honest about it too. Just to be honest about what you do and don't know, and that, hey, let me get you to the right person, because we are experts in this as a group, collectively and experience wise. That's ultimately what's important. But I mean, you think about how, I think the initial question was, how did it prepare me?
Yes.
How did all those different things prepare me? So
Yes.
yeah, ultimately, it's pretty amazing what the human brain can do, what we're capable of.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, so, 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 I mean, it's pretty amazing what the human body's capable of. The fact that we can run a marathon, and if we train, and most of us can, in 2 months. Well, the human brain is incredibly adaptable.
Mm.
I think it's connected to survival, our species, to be able to
Okay.
survive. And that's really true. There is a maybe there's just a risk element there that's not comfortable for most people, but it's there in that adaptability. And so I think if you embrace it and you go, hey, I don't know everything, but I can learn enough to operate in this environment. And also and if I just work within those guidelines, then I'm going to be honest with folks when I don't know, and be honest with them and tell them I don't know, and I'll get them to the right person in my organization. That's worked.
Well, and I think anyone that is unwilling to say, I don't know, will eventually be branded as, I can't think of any other way to say it, a bullshitter. Because if you always have the answer for everything, and you don't ever say, I don't know, or let me consider that, or let me research that, you know, you none of us know everything, and those people that act like they do, I think hurt sales as a whole, in addition to their own reputation.
Yeah, there's this myth that you're supposed to be all knowing and cool and confident and calm, but really, I don't know about you, but I just want someone I can trust.
Mm-hmm.
And trust is vulnerability, because that, trust is showing your vulnerability and showing your true human self, and that and typically, hey, I don't know, or I'm not sure, but I'm here to help you, and I'm gonna walk alongside with you and get you what you need, and I'm not gonna quit, and I'm not gonna.
Exactly.
So I think I have to be careful that going down the road of, well, I'm okay with saying I don't know. Well, yeah, but I'm certainly going to make sure that I am talking about how much energy and effort I'm going to give you, and I'm not going to quit to get you what you need, and I'm gonna push through that wall. I'm going to keep trying until you get what you need. That's what I think people are looking for.
Delivering value, providing solutions.
Absolutely, yeah, sure. So not just a product, right, or just a service.
Right.
I mean,
I mean, anyone can put quality furniture in front of people.
sure.
But and anyone, and any company can go clean, but how are you delivering value? How are you providing solutions? That's the question. So that brings us to um, RCF Group. And when Brandon and I were chit-chatting before we got on here live, I was like, so now RCF Group is a furniture sells furniture. You're a furniture company, right? Or a furniture distributor. And so Brandon's answer, and I'll condense it and then let him expand on it, is, oh, no, Sean, we're so much more. So Brandon, what are you more than a furniture distributor? And
Well,
why is that important?
so first key is we're really different. We don't have commission salespeople. Not that that's a terrible thing or bad thing, but we just don't approach it from that standpoint. So we approach it from more of an account management standpoint. And that's just not normal for a furniture dealer. It historically hasn't been that way because let's be honest, at this point, our chairs are awesome. I can give you a million ways why our chairs, our tables, our desks they're incredible. But there is somewhat of a commoditization of those products, and
Oh yeah.
yeah, much like there is in the auto industry and some other industries. And so what happened or has happened at our companies, and it's what attracted me a little over a year ago, is it was that differentiation piece that just stood out, was that it was an account management standpoint, non-commission, and it wasn't about just the furniture. It was about what do you need. So this company certainly started as a furniture dealer in the office world, serving corporate customers, but then also healthcare and higher education. But as time went on, we had customers ask for landscape management.
Oh.
And yeah, and so what's that mean? Well, hey, they didn't know how to, or they were having a hard time managing their grounds, and they knew we were
And
good.
they asked the furniture people to help them.
They said, "Hey, well, you're good project managers, and so you know how to make things happen. You know how to see it to the end." And so then came move management, then came decommissioning old furniture, then came managing the assets, assets, maybe the furniture or other assets in a warehouse, and keeping track of them efficiently. And so I think, did I say move management too? So that, like, moving from one location to another. And
Okay.
but those all came because of our founders and the fact that we had a facility manager in the past. So someone that had 20 plus years of experience in facility management. And we had a project manager, fellows that came up through the organization and knew how to run projects and serve customers' needs. And then we had the furniture experience as well. So we had like these three people and they're just willing to help a customer. That's what we're here for.
Exactly.
That's like, what do you need? And so then came movable walls that or demountable walls, so that, like, there's one right behind me here that you can sort of see the glass behind the wood grain there. And so then came shades, blinds, echo shades, blinds. Then came sound masking and sound absorption. So it's like,
Yeah.
but those typically, what's happened is those have been things our customers have said, "Hey, do you know where I can get this?" Or, "Do you know anybody that does this?" And so, or they said, "Could you do this?" And so we did it, and we found a way to do it, and that appealed to me a great deal. It's more about, that's more about trying to put a square peg into a square hole as opposed to the rounded square. So let's make, they both fit, right? So we got a square
Well,
peg.
and they're complementary verticals
Mm-hmm.
that you're already dealing with the facility. I mean, the organization that I work for, we provide janitorial services, but we also provide custom factory and custom logistics support services. You know, we are brokers in labor, and whether it's someone driving a forklift truck or cleaning, it's still labor. And what you all are doing is, if I'm understanding it correctly, you're there supporting the facilities, whether it's indoor or outdoor or in other things. You're still going to have people there in a partnership regardless.
Yeah, so let us help you do this, and again, it's not really a sales model. It's more about just listening and seeing. And I can tell you that it is different for every customer. Those services and those verticals I mentioned,
Yeah.
they are not a one size fits all. I mean,
Yep.
it's
Never is.
yeah, it's customized. It has to be customized, Sean, as
Hmm.
you know. It has to be customized. And if an organization is not willing to customize, if if their desire is to just to print them or get them on the factory line, meaning the service or the program or the product, and just keep pushing them out, they're not flexible, then and not listening and trying to look ahead, uh,
Right.
that's a recipe for disaster.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you know, there needs to be strategies and tactics that are repeatable, but the customization piece, you know, whenever I hear someone say, "Oh, well, that's not how we do it," I think, okay, not buying from you.
Right. Yeah, you're like, okay, so that must be a monopolized. There must be some, what's going on that doesn't make sense, and that's a matter of time before someone's going to disrupt that. I mean,
Oh yeah.
that's just, that's just a matter of time. Oh, there went my lights, Sean.
Uh-oh.
Um, yeah.
Brandon's in the dark.
So it's a matter of time before someone disrupts. It just is. It's sitting there waiting. How many times have we seen that in the last 10 years, 15 years?
Amazon,
Uber, Dollar Shave Club.
Uber,
Um,
even Best Buy, if you go back a little bit further. I mean, when I need a piece of electronics, of some sort, yeah, I can get it on Amazon, but I still go to Best Buy because they've got it all there.
So
You
what do you
know,
like about Best Buy? Tell me.
I like that they've got it all there, and that for the most part, their salespeople are very knowledgeable,
Yep.
is
Yeah.
what I have found. So they're providing customer support.
Yep.
Instead of
Yeah.
me having to figure it out, I can go ask questions,
Uh-huh.
and they'll generally say, oh, I don't know about that. Let me get, Mary over here because she understands Bluetooth
Uh-huh.
headphones better than I do.
Yep.
So,
I've had
just everyone, Starbucks disrupting. I don't know. Who do you think is the disruptor other than COVID-19 in 2020?
oh gosh, it'd be too easy to say Zoom because
Yeah.
that was so connected to the times. I feel like we're almost going to have it's who's going to, and that's the big question right now is 6 months from now, who's going to have figured it out and disrupted and seized opportunities as we pull out of this challenge,
Yeah.
and who's going to read the tea leaves the best and see what changes have happened in people's buying trends or not happen.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Mm-hmm.
there's a lot of folks wanting to lay some bets down right now. There are a lot of prognosticators out there right now and predictors. We're all seeking it of, okay, what's going to change? Are we going to travel less for business? Are we going to meet less? Do we not need to go into the office now? And it's both sides. No, we absolutely need collaboration. We absolutely have to have that.
Yeah.
We're going crazy at home. We absolutely have to have business travel, because people do need to see body language and interact in person. How was your
So
trip just recently? How was that?
yeah, I mean, so for what I do, I need to go to certain sites. If I
Mm-hmm.
don't receive the information I need, i.e., the square footage or the
Mm-hmm.
floor covering types, or any of a number of things, I need to go lay eyes on it and measure. Now, this guy, Randy Chafee, okay, who said greetings. He is a friend of mine, a sales colleague in the general sense. He is CEO of his own organization, where he sells into the metal roofing industry, and he has truly found a balance between the road warrior life and the virtual life. He calls it
Oh,
Randy 2. Or it used to be Randy 2.0. Now he's up to 2.5. That there is a balance in, to a certain extent. Um, a lot of more, a lot of stuff is now virtual, but
uh-huh.
there's sometimes you just got to go in person, and you need to know when is it most efficient and effective to do it which way. I I think I think just like how organizations um, over the years have shed people and
Mm-hmm.
had less people do more things. We've all been through that.
Yeah,
Um, I think there's going to be a great awakening of, you know what, you don't need to travel as much, but you still need to travel. Where is
absolutely.
that balance?
Yeah, I'm hearing that conversation more as opposed to it's the end of travel or it's the end of, yeah, it just fill in the blanks. So
Yeah,
there's a fill in the blanks there, like end of. So it almost seems like we're moving to this new place, and where does that flush out to? And so yeah,
exactly.
Randy
So
just mentioned balance. So yep.
shockingly, I told you it's a 30-minute show. Right now we're at 34 minutes.
Can we keep
Um,
talking?
Easy conversations. So as we roll up, and we can have you back, and you can tell us
Yeah.
funny stories.
Yeah.
Um, so as we roll into the last 2 minutes, and people are going to be walking away from this show, what do you want to imbue upon them? What do you want to leave them with? What do you want them to say? Boy, Brandon Lucas, he made me realize. Go.
Yeah, I think it's the importance of authentic, real human connection and relationships. So we continue to move to what seems to be non-authentic social sometimes, non-authentic, just technology based. And so there's this danger that we're moving out of into a non-authentic world. So,
Mm-hmm.
so again, that's another balance thing. So how do we keep being real when there's so many places where it tends to seem not real? So like, right? And so how do we keep being real? So I think that means the ability to be authentic means what I said earlier. I think being vulnerable, and I
Okay.
don't know, but I'll find you the answer. And through history, even apologizing when you did something wrong, and that human piece. I just think it's so important to just keep being human. It seems like there's a demand to sometimes drive a certain lane and look a certain way, but I think it's just so important to be human and connect in that way, albeit difficult these days.
But we're leveraging technology. Who'd have thunk we would have been doing something like this a year ago? I know I'd have
Yeah,
never thought of
yeah,
it.
yeah. I mean, it right, absolutely. Which that here we are. So let's be human. Let's have a real conversation. And I think that's exactly what we're doing now. Is where my head is we're definitely fast forwarding into a place where this virtual and in person, and somewhere in there, we still got to be human. We still have to connect in real ways, and still asking about each other's kids or the sports team or how you
Exactly.
how's your back doing after you threw it out last month or whatever it is. Like remembering that and seeking that out. It's so important for all of us. So
It's like a friend of mine, Eric Bam, says about social media. Post about your family, post about your customers, and after you do that, then you can post about your business. But if you're not
there you
posting
go.
about your family and posting about your customers, you haven't earned the right to post about your business.
There you go. I love
So,
that.
sounds like something you would have said.
I love that. Well, I admire it. That's for sure.
So, everyone, thank you so much. Brandon, thank you for being my guest today on Litvak Leadership Live. Hey, people, if you're looking for any of the services that Brandon talked about, whether, including office furniture and more, Brandon is the general manager at RCF Group.
Yeah.
What is your website, Brandon?
Of course, www. Just Google RCF Group. You're going to get to it.
There you go. Makes
There's
it
like
even
50 different
easier.
ways. We're on LinkedIn, of course. You're going to find us on Facebook. You're going to find us in all those normal places. Ultimately, by the way, Cincinnati, Louisville, and Cleveland, we've got a national reach. So we have actually international. So we've been working international for
Woo!
yeah. So pretty cool. Pretty cool.
Very cool. Okay, we are going to dig into RCF Group on another day. But everyone, thank you so much. Enjoy your Friday. Hey, and if you liked this video, hit like. If you want to see more videos, hit the bell so you're reminded. And show me some love. Go to my YouTube page and become a subscriber, and then you'll be notified every single time a new video goes up. That's all for now. Enjoy your weekend. Be blessed.
See you, Shane.